But when you wanted to set up a watch
Can
party,
y'all hear me?
you go to his live and just hit the watch party option.
Can you hear me? Anybody hear me?
Anybody needs this, it's in here though.
I got you, bro.
Okay, now the sound work. I just need to turn the switch on. We setting up, y'all, so just leave us alone. Don't call me or Jimmy. Leave us be. Wait a minute, son.
Back to your side, baby. Our side.
Oh, I ain't did this in forever and a day.
Man, you gonna have to teach me this whole thing.
They got
I'm about to start doing this and dropping knowledge and just doing a whole bunch of stuff. I just went live today, but I couldn't stream it across all platforms the way I wanted to.
So you're on live now on YouTube?
Yeah.
Oh, so they listening to me just chopping it.
Yeah, shooting break. Frank,
Yes, Pop.
set this up while I do the main
And it's on all the platforms now, it's on YouTube?
Facebook, this is the little phone is YouTube, my cell phone's YouTube. I'm using YouTube because I got 1,000 subscribers now, so I can do that.
Check me out, PVO Clothing Co.
Yep,
On
tell them what.
Facebook and Instagram.
Yep.
Gonna be selling these. Got a lot of stuff. Check us out. PVO Clothing Co.
Give me your Facebook.
Clothing. CO. The CO is for company. Let me go get a piece of paper. I'm gonna write it down.
Okay.
Waiting for live.
And that's on your page right now?
Yep, on my YouTube channel, yeah. Okay, ooh, it's already balanced. God almighty, that is how God works.
I've literally been trying to figure that out all day, and you just came in here and just did it right in front of
Who,
me.
me?
Yeah.
You should have asked, bro. That's like I be
downloaded
asking
Google
you.
today. I
You
downloaded
wanna go
Google
live
Duo.
for a
I
long
downloaded BDS. That's
3
another
hours.
one.
Oh, you
that's
mean
supposed
while
to
it's recording?
be
3 hours,
streamed
set
through
for 3
Facebook.
hours. Yeah, bro, shoot. Man, much as you be telling me about how to use Adobe
You
products.
want to allow people to rewind?
Are you making this?
Sure.
You want to disable live commentary?
Huh?
Do you want to turn off live commentary?
No. Let them talk.
Alright. I'm going to go all the options.
Do that, son.
I'm going on my side to relax. If you need me, you can text me or something.
Will
got
do.
you.
The door is open.
Oh, man, that is perfect. Okay, we're gonna slide them chairs in a little bit after I do this. The audio is already working. Dang it, that's beautiful, bro.
It's a nice place.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Resolution.
Put it together myself. It was
Dream.
2 years.
Oh, no. We don't want to end the live video if the stream stops.
Put it
No.
over here. Coffees, so people are addicted to coffee. I figured it's always a fun.
Okay,
Hmm?
now,
Marketplace on Facebook. They have everything. Most of it came off Marketplace.
what time do you want to start the live?
Hmm?
What time is,
Look at, you can start it now. I'm just letting them watch and tune in.
I was gonna start it at 8:37.
What time is it, son?
8:26.
No, I kinda wanna know.
Okay, I'll
Just
start it.
start it right now. I want everything synced up, cause I'm already behind.
I'll hit them back up like, hey, what happened?
8:27 p.m.
Damn, the mics are working. Check.
9. It's gonna start at, no,
Got you, son.
no, that's not what I wanna do it.
Mhm.
I wanna go live now.
White balance. Look at that, baby. Auto white balance. Update white balance. It's working.
What do you mean it's waiting for video?
What, son?
It's, oh, no, I've never done live from a computer before.
So we got 56 in there. That'll give me what I want. Jimmy, do me a favor. Go sit right there for me.
We live?
No. I mean, I need to test that mic. That's the real, this one and this camera, I need. Yeah, they see it, ain't no problem.
Doing the testing time?
Oh, it's good.
All right.
I need to test this.
Hello, everybody. Since y'all see me now, I'm going to stay here.
Yeah.
You look good on this one.
I look good
Hey,
without the
look,
camera. What you talking about? I look good on the-
I told you that you need the character. I told you the
You
character.
like,
I
you
need
look
the camera to
good,
look
period. I respect
I hear you,
it.
brother.
I
I
respect
hear
it.
I hate pocket. Film the video. That's it. That's what we need. That's what we need.
All right.
Okay, yeah, I'm gonna just switch back to the previous version.
All right, say your name real quick.
Can I just say anything?
That sounds
Can you
perfect.
hear me?
Yes.
It's a great man.
I got you, bro.
Sorry, y'all, I was late getting in the airport. And
Now,
so we're running a little bit behind.
but yeah, let me lock this camera
I
in.
have to fly into here. Yep.
Oh, Darryl, all you gotta do is keep us right here. They can see both of us right there.
So do I need to sit here for a while? I need to get up.
Oh no, you can move now.
Okay, great.
Oh yeah, you good, brother. I just had to get you in sync there. That's all.
This is not allowing me to do what
What's
I
the
want
matter?
to do. It keeps waiting for a live video.
Well, that's why I got it setting it up, son. ISO. Change that ISO.
Just like allow embedding now.
All right. We good then, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. We are good. We are good.
Oh, I'm stupid. Okay.
Why you say
What do you want to call the live?
the Jimmy Battles with an S on the end interview? Huh? That knew that was gonna happen.
God have mercy, Jesus.
I did that.
Just lost mine.
No,
All my scripture.
I'll buy you another one.
I had to write this.
Huh? Okay. If that's the only thing that happens wrong tonight, I'm in good shape. Thank God. Take that one away. Let me get some napkins. Okay. There we go. Next towel. We ready to rock and roll.
So are you on already?
Huh?
You on? So
I'm
I can't-
kind of patient. I can't hear. All right. body.
Have you gone live from your computer before?
Yeah.
Well, what is all, this is asking me,
What is it asking you, son? Okay,
It's
then
not allowing me to start the live.
when you get ready to record here, hit the,
Okay, it's not allowing me to start the
Okay.
live.
what's it saying? What's it asking?
It's just not allowing me to start it. And I'm trying to, and it's saying.
Let me get this, let me get the name. Where's my book bag? Did I leave it in the car?
Probably. Yeah, and I'm assuming you use the camera that's associated with your.
All the
computer.
time. I'll be right back.
So, yeah, I don't know why.
Everybody texts me because it's saying that we don't see you. Alright, it's 8:34.
Forgot the main ingredient, brother. Rock. Rock and roll. Questions? Let's get it on. Let's do it. Okay. Put this there. Questions? We'll sign the contract after we finish. All right. I gotta leave the sound on, that's what I'm talking about. Okay, what's it doing?
I'm trying to get your camera to work.
It's not, just do YouTube. I'll,
How do
hold on here. He got it working. The biggest thing is that, yeah, we good. I'm not gonna go through that. No, not tonight. Ain't gonna be no uploading tonight. You're not uploading no software and pinging me all night. I'll cut that off right now. Don't, if you're on Facebook, do not send me any messages. None.
Just turn your ringer on.
it?
No, I'm talking about there because people, never mind.
Do not disturb, because I got it on mine. Show him how to set do not disturb on his.
Oh, it's on the phone already. It's just,
He got his tablet out.
oh.
You can do it on your tablet.
Yeah.
But see, this is the problem. I might have a problem doing that. And,
It's an iPad, right?
yeah, no, what I'm saying is when I get ready to play audio, will it affect the audio playback?
No.
Okay, well, good then. I'll just put it on.
affects all incoming notifications. and
You the
calls.
man. That's why I got you. See? That's why you are Jeopardy smart. Call me, Tracy. It's you know what time it is. Nobody call me. I put it on Do Not Disturb. You did it before me. Do it again. Never mind. Don't worry about it.
On live.
Yeah.
Jesus.
I mean, why would somebody even try to call me? All right.
It look like it's just gonna be YouTube today.
Huh?
Unless you,
I'll come over there in a minute.
cause I've never done it from a computer. Everybody always do it from the phone.
Well, would you mind doing it on your phone? Please? Please, pretty please, and log it in. I'll
That's a feed, man.
put it on my bill.
Ooh, that bill.
Okay, everybody that's sending me messages, okay, I'm gonna stop this. I'm gonna cut them off. How do I do that?
Mama know you getting her an Uber.
That's right, that's more important. Get her an Uber, because she gets off in like 20 minutes.
I don't have no money.
I got it.
I don't have.
Y'all on live doing this?
That's what I'm saying. Like,
Here. That's what I was telling you. You panic too much.
no.
Y'all need a lot of marijuana. Large quantities, like Colorado High type stuff. Panic too much. All right. If I put it on airplane mode, I can't use my settings. That's what I need. I just need to not be bothered by people trying to talk to me.
Does he have any air in here?
Air? I don't know. You might just be your nerd, brother.
No, I'm not. Just a
A little warm. We're about to get started in about.
9 o'clock.
No, it ain't gonna be that long. Shoot, no. No. As soon as I block these people from sending me messages, I'll be good. I should have learned how to do this. I can't do anything about that, Ruby Woo. Just watch what you say. That they know that the enemy is at the doorstep and they're doing what they've been asked. Settings. That's it. Yes. And son, you said I go down to
Can you just show me
Do
that?
not disturb.
I'm looking at it. I'm trying to find it, son. Don't holler at me. You know I got PTSD. I've been had a flashback.
You about to give me one.
Y'all seeing all this on the live?
Just a joke. That's how we joke. You don't know us because you ain't around us, but we joke like this all the time. It's just me and my son. That's my buddy. Ain't nothing personal.
Yeah, this, yeah.
Okay. Okay. We gonna work it out, son. Playing it on the back. I'll just cut that off, then I don't have to worry about the stupid, okay. Okay, we're good. We're good now. Excellent. Any luck, son? Let me try. Oh, you should be able to do it better than me. We're almost ready, y'all, so just,
It don't work.
okay.
I know.
Just call your mom. Just take care of the main thing for me, please.
You said there's something great blocking him?
Yeah, that's the back of the laptop. Tell him just be patient.
Oh, that's the back of the laptop.
Yeah. I did not realize there was that much headspace.
Boom.
Oh, good. Okay, make sure you, okay, I'm gonna log off of this down here on my tablet because it's gonna be feedback. Everybody listening, don't call us.
Don't call. Don't call.
Don't call us, don't text. I'm not responding to no phone calls or texts unless, if it's an emergency, dial 911. You heard that feedback? Okay. All right. Turn it down. Tilt that one down just a little bit. I got too much head. Yeah. We good, my brother. And now he can do his thing. I know it's hot. It's very hot in here.
I need you buying all the Renos tonight.
Oh no. Stuff like that. All right.
I ain't worried about no people.
I know.
And I expect my music all through this.
You know he ain't going for all that. Anyway, let me log on to Google, get these files open. Alrighty. Do not call my phone. Don't call my phone. Leave me alone. We're running behind. It is my fault. It is totally my fault. But we're here. We are here, ladies and gentlemen. We are almost ready.
It's 9 o'clock.
No. I'm just going over some of the corrections here to make sure.
I didn't correct anything, did I?
Oh.
For you, I haven't sent you any correction.
Oh, okay, well, cool. So
I should have. Look on mine.
that's what I got in my hand.
Oh, you see what's underlined?
Yeah.
Oh, that's, I'll,
Well, when I get to that, I'll make sure to stop it.
no.
So I guess for the most part, I covered it.
All right, let's do it.
You ready?
So I flew in ready.
All right, brother.
Do I need to know how to do, you show me how to do this?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Oh, no. flame with, yep. We'll flame with restart. And. Oh, shit, I'm so stupid. Oh, that's funny. You want to invite all your friends, right? Oh, okay. It's already doing it, so you can type whatever you want to say. And you just-
We're about to get started, ladies and gentlemen.
Like if you want. Yeah, that's good.
Officially, distance live, but stay right there. I'm gonna bring you on. I'm gonna read the little intro, and then you come. That's not the. This is the real thing. That's the important thing. This is just for them to be nosy. That's what we worry about. That one. That's the one edited. Yeah. Red button. Keep it rolling. Don't even bother it.
I will not.
Thank you, son.
Let me know when you're ready.
Count me down to 3.
It's not focused on either one. Well, it'll be focused on Mr. Battle, but
Am I right here?
yeah, you're in it. It's just not focused on you.
It's not a zoom lens. It's going.
You'll fix it when in the editing.
What you mean? Is it blurry?
Yes. Just tell me how to fix it, and I can fix it.
That's not. I'm shooting it flat. I'm sorry. I didn't explain
Where's
that.
the light?
It's not the light. It's what you call shooting flat. See, it's a LUTs. I'm using this LUTs right here. So you hit, and then that's it.
Okay.
See, it's just a LUT. That's all it is.
That's
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah. And you go right here. There you go.
Alrighty.
Record. Da-da-da-da-da, back. Okay, now. My hand is just, see right here, it should have been back at the front. The light level, right there,
I'm trying to figure out how to make you not blurry.
auto white balance.
How to make you not blurry.
Right there. See those little lines?
Yeah.
When I edit, that's gonna take all that out.
I'm not worried about that. I'm worried about. I'll fix it because you just showed me how to do it, so it's fine.
What I'll do is I'll just take the filter. See that filter?
I'm not worried about the filter. When you sit down, you are blurry. Mr. Battle will be clear. I'm trying to make it so both of you are clear and in focus. How do I focus the camera? Tell me how to focus the camera.
You gonna make me go outside, and I don't even do drugs. That's the bad part.
Tell me how to focus the camera.
It's autofocus on. I have it set to auto.
Okay, go sit down. Go sit down, and we'll see if it autofocus.
Hold on, stop. See that little?
I feel your pain. What month were you born in?
Hmm?
Yeah, what month were you born in?
May.
Well, that's why he's so irritated.
Okay.
Month of May.
Okay.
Spring baby.
No, I'm trying to make sure
All right.
everything's correct.
As long as he's the star of the show, remember that.
Okay, I understand that.
I could care less if I was green as an apple.
All right.
As long as
Go sit down.
that man right there.
Go sit down. Sit down.
I'm not the focal point. Technically I'm supposed to blend into the background.
All right.
He's the most important thing I got
I
going.
understand.
Yeah. This is not my show. I'm just like this furniture.
Mm-hmm.
And count me down, please, sir.
3, 2, 1.
Well, welcome. We're here. has been 30 years for Mr. Battles. And tonight, his voice will be heard once and for all. 30 years ago, George Bloomer traveled to Palatka, Florida to do a revival. At the time, he was an associate pastor for Pastor Shirley Caesar in North Carolina. He encountered a young man, barely 19, 20 years old, and that young man was assigned to be his driver while he was in town for the revival. Jimmy Battles is that man. At the time, he was very young and very impressionable, and Bishop Bloomer took advantage of that. And tonight, he's here to tell his story about what happened that weekend and how it changed his life. During that time, another young man by the name of Michael Tripp, he won't have his voice heard. He passed away. The pain of what happened that weekend was too much for him to bear. So tonight, Mr. Battles will not only be speaking for himself, but he'll be speaking a little bit on Mr. Tripp's behalf. So, everybody's been waiting, and here's Jimmy Battles. Welcome, Jimmy.
Hey man, how are you?
Doing good. Have a seat there, bro. I'm glad we finally got you here,
I am here.
and we'll finally get you to tell your story. You okay? I want to make sure you're okay, because like I've been talking to you, I can only imagine what it must be like to have to wait 30 years to be heard. I couldn't imagine that, and I want to make sure I do right by you tonight.
Absolutely.
And this is your time. This is not about anyone else. This is you. Before we get started, I need to do a little house cleaning. As you know, there are people that don't want this story told, and they're going to do whatever they can to stop it. But under Section 107 of the U.S. Copyright Act of 1976, allowance is made for fair use for purpose such as criticism, comment, news reporting, which is what's happening here, teaching, scholarship, education, and research. Fair use is permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. Non-profit educational or personal use tips the balance of favor for fair use. All the information that's going to be shared here during this interview is the exclusive intellectual property of both parties that you see before you. All audio recordings that will be played are the property of the interviewee and used by the production company with written permission, as he signed the release form allowing me to use that information on his behalf. Okay, now, Mr. Battle, I have to ask you a few questions.
Okay.
Have you been offered any incentives, financial or otherwise, to appear tonight?
No, absolutely not.
Have you been threatened or coerced into appearing tonight?
No.
Were you coerced or forced to enter into any contractual agreements with me as it pertains to this production
No, I was
or
not.
interview?
No.
Were you ever offered any incentives to remain silent about your story?
No.
By me, okay. Last question is my favorite one. If need be, are you willing to take a polygraph to prove you're telling the truth?
Absolutely.
I had no doubt. For the record, I had no doubt, but we just have to ask for the naysayers. You've been nothing but integral as far as I've been dealing with you. You've been above board with everything and honest.
Absolutely.
And I even joked earlier today with somebody, I said, I've never met you before today, and I said, the way you talk and how forthcoming you are, I said, I'll give you a key to the front door of my house. That's what I think about you personally. Can you just tell us what happened? Give us a little background about what's the name of the church you were attending?
Well, I was, at the age of 13, I came across this little church.
Mm-hmm.
At the time, it was Grace and Truth Holiness Church.
Oh,
And I think they've changed it to Grace and Truth Ministries or
Mm-hmm. And what city is it located in?
That is in Palatka, Florida, the place that I was born.
And the pastor?
Apostle now, but wasn't then. He was Pastor Corby Fales.
Mm-hmm. And is she still the pastor there now?
She is still the pastor, yes. Very sharp woman, dresses very nicely.
Okay. Can you tell us a little about your upbringing in the church?
Well, at the age of 13, I started going. Lots of zeal. And I remember going to the altar right around December 13th. They were in a youth council meeting or either young people convention. They still have that same council or convention now. I think they just got out of that. And I really had I was very impressed.
Mm-hmm.
But prior to that, I grew up in church. My mother would send us to church at an apostolic church around there at, can't even think of his name, but it was the Refuge of Our Lord or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
But then as I got older, I started going to this church. And it was nice at first.
At first.
Yeah, it was nice.
Then
I enjoyed it. It was a lot of young people.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember giving my heart to God that night, and I kept going back. And that was during the time that we would have what they call terror service.
Mm. I've never heard that. Can you explain what that is?
Yeah, when you get on your knees and call on Jesus till you spit and slobber come out your mouth. Jesus, 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 Jesus.
Oh, so you just going to a frenzy.
Jesus, Jesus, Jesus. Somebody on one end said, hold on.
Mm.
And somebody on the other end said, give up. You get confused because you don't know whether to hold on or give up.
Oh, wow.
But I know now what they meant. Hold on to God, give up the world.
Mm.
Yeah. So young, and I became a part of this ministry. Yeah.
Did that cause any friction with your family?
No, actually, my mother. I remember one day I asked them to pick me up, and I remember them coming, and my mother said, "You're not going anywhere tonight. You need to stay home and rest." I'm my mom's baby out of 8. There's some family members watching right now, so they know the love that I have for my mother.
Right.
And I remember her saying, "You can't go. You need to rest." And I just broke out in tears, standing at the kitchen counter. I said, "Mama, but they're here." And I cried and I cried. She said, "Okay, I'm gonna let you go this time." And I went. And I remember a few years ago, she brought this up to me. She said, because she understood some of the, well, I won't go that far yet, but she said, the only reason I let you go, because she said, at least he's not in the streets.
Yeah.
And my baby want to go to church.
Yeah.
And so she allowed me to go.
So, I've been dreading this part, but you had mentioned how at times your pastor didn't like outsiders knowing about what's going on in the church.
Yeah, the teachings were, you do not let your unsaved loved ones know about the things that's going on in the church. And that was the teaching. And think about it, at that age, you're thinking these people are really speaking for God or from God. And it sort of separated us from our family. There are friends now that I have that we talk about it, that was a part of this church, and we talk about how it really divided us from our family. So if anything happened in the church, you're not supposed to go back and report it to your unsaved loved ones. And so,
Wow.
so when things did happen, we didn't report it because we thought this was the right thing to do. So yeah.
Now, with that in mind, the incident that eventually happened, that's what caused you not to talk to them.
Oh yeah, I didn't say anything. Actually, I was afraid. And
Of what? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to.
Well,
That's too much uncomfortable.
well, it's fine. So looking back at it now, it's very cultish. I didn't know that. It was very cultish. Anytime they could, because it's really manipulation and control. I remember during the when there were holidays,
Mhm.
Thanksgiving, Christmas, they told us, well, you need to come to church because they would have service on like a Thanksgiving morning or Christmas morning. And they
Mhm.
say, if your family want to be with you, they need to be with you at church.
Oh, wow.
So it wasn't that they didn't really teach you family, like be
Mhm.
home with your family. They felt like if your family wanted to be with you,
Did
let
you-
them come to church.
With you.
Absolutely. So it brought about a division, and it brought about it really separated us from our family. So, yeah. And there were quite a few young people there, but I noticed a pattern as we got older. There are those of us who were a part of this church. The ones that really suffered, like me,
Mhm.
some of the others that I could call their names that suffered at the hands of these people.
Mhm.
Our parents nor our family went to this church. So our family or our parents trusted their children to the church, or they trusted the church with their children because
Mhm.
church is supposed to be a safe place. I mean, church is supposed to be a safe place, a place where you come for healing, a place where you can be a community or a family, not a church that divides you from your family or take you away from your family. So I've noticed a pattern as we got older, and some of us still talk about it, how the ones that was going to commit suicide.
Mm.
I can start naming names. There was a time my classmate and our friend Trina Davis was about to jump over the bridge.
My God.
They had to go get off a bridge because of something they did. I remember my friend Mary about to cut her wrist because of something these people did. Mind you, the two people that I just called, their family didn't go to the church. Then you got Michael Tripp. His family didn't go to the church. Then you have me. My family didn't go to the church. So it seemed like to me, all the children that were really affected
Mhm.
that was impacted in a negative way, it was those of us who did not have our families there. So yeah, so being young, we didn't see it at first, but as we got older, we saw, so let me make this clear though. Let me just really, really be clear. The things that I'm talking about now, and the people that's going to be named,
Mhm.
the different places and spaces that we're going to be discussing tonight. I'm not here to expose an individual. All the names that's going to be named tonight, you're going to hear telephone conversations. I'm not here to expose any of these people.
Mhm.
I am here to talk about my life, but I am here to expose a system that has covered up and covered up and covered up and covered up. There's abuse in the church. They covered it up because they're trying to protect their name, but they're not concerned about the individual. So I want to make it clear, the names that are being mentioned and the churches and the spaces and places,
Mhm.
I'm here to uncover and expose a system that has been going on for decades.
Okay.
Now, but in the process though, in the process of me telling my story, even though I'm not here to expose an individual or individuals,
Mhm.
my story is going to expose the events, but it is really the system. It's almost like it's likened, or metaphorically speaking, it's likened unto trying to kill a tree, but you're cutting off the branches. The branch going to grow back. You got to get the root of the tree.
Mhm.
The root is the system. The things that come out of the root, and the branches are the manifestation of what's going on in the system. It is really the root that and so in order to chop all of this foolishness off, you got to get to the root. You got to know where the root is. You can cut down branches and pull off leaves all day long, which represents manifestations of things,
Mhm.
but it is really about that root.
Now, I'm about to ask you what I've been dreading,
Okay.
but it's the whole reason we're here. What happened during the revival?
All right, so it was back in the early 90s. And we won't even talk about. So tonight, some of you heard a very graphic description.
Mm-hmm.
I talked about it
Mm-hmm.
on the last platform.
Right.
Tonight I don't want to be so graphic. I don't want to be so detailed.
Okay.
I'm going to be transparent.
Right.
To me, transparency is a silhouette. Nakedness are describing details. And I really don't want to give the nakedness part of it and the details because everybody can't handle the details of your life,
Mm-hmm.
but they can deal with the transparency. And so tonight, if I can just kind of stick with the transparency because it is emotional.
I understand.
I have family watching, I have friends watching. It is very emotional.
Mm-hmm.
And so I really want to deal with just the transparency piece of it.
Take your time.
And so yeah, so during a revival, I remember we used to go to convention out in Durham, North Carolina, and there's a church or a few people, and they brought in this preacher.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't the preacher that she really wanted,
Right.
but she brought in this preacher. I was asked to go pick him up,
Mm-hmm.
and if my memory serves me right, and it does, I went and picked him up from, I believe, Jacksonville Airport, and I brought him by the pastor's house because she wanted to make sure she met him and had a conversation with him. And I remember bringing him by the house, and then after that I took him to his hotel. During that time there was an event going on in Palatka, so they couldn't put him in the, there's a hotel on the water, and I think it was Holiday Inn,
Mm-hmm.
but they couldn't put him there because of the events that was going on, the hotels were overbooked.
Mm-hmm.
So ended up putting him in a motel, the Budget Inn, right there where Pick and Save used to be, right next to the gas station. And so I took him to the hotel, and then I went back to my mom's house. And I knew I was supposed to pick him up. She said, well, so she never pronounced the T's in my name. She said, Brother Bales, I want you to, pick up this preacher, and I want you to be responsible for picking him up, bringing him to the church, and then taking him back to the hotel.
Okay.
And so I did that. But close to, this was each night. And as a matter of fact, I was what they call leading devotion as well.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember this particular night when I got ready to take him to the hotel, and I was so impressed with the way that he was able to articulate the scriptures and be able to just really preach.
Mm-hmm.
I have to be honest, because during that time it was a bunch of hoopla. My ear is different now, so it's like, they would preach on, if they would find things to preach on if they preached on you.
Okay.
So if they felt like you was rebellious, they would preach about rebellion.
Mm.
They would preach rebellion for the next almost 60 years. I mean, that's exaggeration, but I'm serious. There are people that can testify to this. I wish they could call in now and talk about it.
Mm.
That they would preach on rebellion, or if you're don't come to church, they would preach about that. It was nothing to really feed you. So we found out that when we would go to these different conferences and different events, that it was really different. These people was really breaking, it was amazing. They would open that Bible and they have your attention the whole time.
Mm.
But only to come back from that convention or whatever conference we went to go back into a slump. And some of us talked about it. They didn't know this, but we talked about it. Like, it just seems like when we go somewhere else, it's so nice and they can deliver the word, but when we come back here, it's about rebellion, and it's about, what they can control you with. They form the word to control you, basically. They preached on you or preached at you.
Mhm.
So when this man came along, but I'm not supposed to call names, remember?
This is your show.
No, but you have a clip where I was asked,
Yes, I do.
will you play that, please? Do you have that? I'm
Yeah.
sorry, I wasn't, please forgive me.
Yeah, you do have a clip, and I will pull it up.
Because I want to stick to my word. Now, I had to call the name because you asked me about the name of the pastor. I had to do that because you asked. And again, I'm not here to uncover you, him, them, or shim. I'm here to uncover a system.
I'm sorry. I know I'm trying to keep a straight face. I'm
It's
sorry.
okay.
I'm sorry. That was just funny to me when you said that. Yeah, I'm trying to.
Well, if you can't find it, it's
I
okay.
have it. I just.
Oh, I know you have it because I sent it to you.
Yes, sir. I do. I'm just making sure that I. Okay, I gotta go back. That's okay.
Because I want to be, I am a man of my word. I like to, I'm a man of integrity. I will tell the truth, even if I got to tell on myself. So, yeah,
That is true. You are.
I will tell on myself.
You sure? You will be honest. That is very true. So.
And while you're doing that, first of all, thank you for having me to come. This is a very nice place.
Yeah, thank you.
Hello, YouTubers and Facebookers. I'm here. This is my first appearance.
With me. Okay.
Well,
This is just the devil.
no,
I will figure it out while you're
it's,
talking.
it's not the devil. No, it's not the devil. It's okay.
I'm a little, like I say, I'm operating on 2 hours of sleep in
It's
2
okay.
days, and I just was like,
So I gave my word some time ago that,
well, I didn't give mine,
well,
but I'm gonna honor your wishes.
thank you. Thank you.
I think you've earned the right to speak on however you want to speak, brother.
Absolutely.
God bless your soul.
So all of this pause is going to be cut out in the
Oh, yes,
production.
sir.
Okay,
Yes,
great.
sir.
Can you grab me my phone for me, please, sir?
Holding that cough forever.
Oh, Lord.
And I'm gonna
Good.
edit it out
Cigarettes
anyway.
down.
I'm gonna edit all of that out.
You know I'm good?
All of that background noise and everything.
Yes, if you come this way, it works. I'll just, thank you.
I do have to get upstairs shortly.
Huh?
I do have to get upstairs shortly.
Okay.
I don't know how long.
Well, I mean, we're just gonna put a pause anyway, so if he gonna go upstairs, be doing
Not
something.
right this second, yeah, but when y'all was done, he had to do construction.
Oh, okay, I'll be out here, we'll be out here.
Oh, wow.
I did not know.
Okay, do they know we're filming?
Yeah, but,
Oh, okay.
hey, can y'all, can you cause when she run, I can hear it. Dang, why did this go? See, that's what I know. I had it set up.
Well, that's okay.
And it's on that phone. How did I do that? I am folders. That's what I needed. That's what I needed. And there you are, Jimmy Battles.
That's me.
And I had you in a nice little audio folder, and there you are. And I don't have to deal with none of this other stuff. And the folder of the hour is Jimmy Battles setting the record straight in their own voice.
I'm looking
And
for
here it
something
is,
because I
and
sent you
here
something.
it is. I'm loading it right now, sir. Would you like me to play that whole clip so that you don't have to break your promise?
Well, if you would just play that part where I was asked, are you able to do that?
Yeah, I can scan to it, it's gonna take a minute.
Oh,
Cause I didn't cut it up like that, I cut it down to a section, but it's toward the end. So I'll just go, cause it's a 30-minute, file. And, well, after I broke it down, it became 30 minutes.
okay.
But, yeah, you know, I'll help you keep your
Give
word.
us a little patience. This is my first appearance.
A conclusion that the church failed you as a child, but you're not saying it's failed you pretty much as an adult.
Yeah, I'm gonna let that gentleman play. How about that? Is that fair enough?
Okay,
All right.
whatever works.
I feel like there's thousands of Jimmys out there.
Are they able to hear
That's why
this?
I'm so glad that's the only reason. And I don't look at it and say that's good. Well, I don't wanna, yeah. but
Can you back that up?
we
Are they
don't
able to
take
hear
no
this?
blow up. I think we need to make sure that Jimmy is clear about his mission.
Okay, I'm gonna back that up.
Can y'all hear that? Are y'all
There are
able to?
people in that
Oh,
are in that city.
No, go ahead. Whatever you need to do. I'm sorry.
Yeah, this is, we're gonna do that again. We're gonna start from this point on, just let it play.
Knows about this.
Oh, I don't want my voice there.
So
Are you all able to hear? Or did we lose everybody?
No, they're still there.
Okay, gotcha.
It's just that this is a 30-minute file, and
Yeah.
it's gonna play. That's just, you know,
But yeah, I wanted that part.
yeah, I couldn't isolate that. That was just, I could play it at the end, I'll let it play now. But, yeah, I'm gonna let it play. And that Mike's gonna pick it up fine.
If you go, when you go public with your story, can you walk people through your story and through your journey without saying names?
That's all I need to hear.
Okay.
So I said, yes, I can walk through my story and journey without saying names. Some have already spoken names, so I've not said that name. So to continue on and pick up where we left off.
Mm-hmm.
So I remember that night, I took him back to the motel at the Budget Inn, and we were talking about what he was preaching about. It was not, it was just different. It was impressed, and I wanted to hear more. And on our way, we were just talking about what he preached that night. And so when I got to the hotel, I said, okay, so we're here. And he kept talking. And he said, well, why don't you come in? I said, oh no. I said, our pastors really don't allow us to go into the hotel. He said, oh man, it's going to be all right. We're talking about the word. Just come on. And so hard pounding, because I'm like, oh man, but he's inviting me to come in. Had no idea the next few minutes was going to change my life. And so we went into the motel, the Budget Inn right there in Palatka, and he went, and there was this couch sitting there, brown couch, and a bed against the wall. And he went into the bathroom to change clothes. So when he came out of the bathroom, he came out only in his underwear. And so he laid on the bed, and he started talking to me. I was sitting on that little couch, and he was laying, had his fist propped under his chin, nothing but his underwear. And he started talking. He asked me, he said, so, what do y'all do around here? Jack chicken all day? I didn't know what that meant. I was really naive. I didn't know what that meant. I'm an old little country boy. I ain't never been nowhere.
You from a place bigger than me?
Yeah, 10,000 people, I think now.
A whole
Or
lot.
back in 2017, I looked up the demographics, and there's about 10,000 people. And I said, Jack chickens, I didn't know what it meant. But as I got older, I knew it meant masturbate. I didn't know that. And so he questioned, he started asking me he asked me another question. He said, so if you were in a room full of homosexuals, what would you do? I said, I would leave. He said, why? If you're not homosexual, why would you leave? I said, well, the Bible says abstain from the very appearance of evil. I'm quoting things that I've heard most of my life. I said, and that's what we do here. And the Bible said, don't let your goods be evil spoken of. And I remember I had on this purple. It's funny because it was this MC Hammer. I had the top and the bottom on. It was this MC Hammer little outfit with the
Parachute pants.
Yeah, the parachute.
Yeah, that I could never fit because I was 300 pounds back in those days.
And I said, and I noticed something. So I got cold. I got really, really cold. I felt cold and I started shaking. But I also noticed his complexion changed. It just seemed like he got darker to me. Everything seemed to get darker, and he was like, "Why are you shaking?" And I said, "I'm cold." So he started talking about some other stuff. I said, "So you are this pastor's associate pastor?" I said, "When we go to the convention, we never see you." And he said, "Yeah, I'll be somewhere getting plenty of." He didn't say coochie. He said the word. But that was the first time I ever heard a preacher curse, because I didn't know preachers curse.
Yeah, they do.
No, I'm saying, coming from that area, you did
Right,
not hear.
I get you what you're saying.
The N word in that church was worse than a curse word. So you couldn't even use the N word in it. Just so to hear preachers, I was somewhere getting plenty of, I can say that's on here.
You can say whatever you want.
Plenty of pussy. That's what he said.
You're in the right
And
to say whatever
I
you
was
want
like,
to say.
wow. And he said, so he started talking about his wife, and I've never seen his wife. He was like, she was dark. I don't know. I still don't know what she looked like back then or whatever. But it didn't. For me, I'm in this place, and all of a sudden, I'm cold, and I'm afraid. And he was very observant. He saw that I was shaking. He was saying, "Why are you nervous?" And I said, "I'm cold."
Yeah,
Sitting on that couch.
I remember at that time when this happened. This was before he lost all the weight. So
Yeah, he was.
he was a very large guy.
He was a large guy.
So you were intimidated, I would imagine.
Yeah, I was scared. Well, first of all, I had never experienced anything like it. I had never experienced that type of interaction. I'm an innocent boy at this point, right? And I'm doing what I feel like I'm supposed to do, but at the same token, I'm hearing conversations I've never heard. Profanity during that time. Now you might hear me cuss now, but I'm just saying, during that time, that's not what we were accustomed to.
Right.
Yeah, it was about living holy, living righteous, shut-ins, prayer, seeking, all of that. And mind you, naive, right? So age doesn't denote maturity. I was very immature. I was having a conversation with my oldest brother about this back in April after I did the other call-in. And he was we were talking because he's much older than me, and he was saying how my mother didn't allow them to talk about sex. Sex wasn't a conversation piece in that house. It was almost like a bad thing to talk about. So he was in his 20s before he even started doing anything with females. So that's just how we grew up. So, just immature. I'm not immature now, though. Yeah.
You had to grow up fast.
Yeah. So that night, and I remember him saying, "Come here." He said, "Come here." And then that's when things went south. And that's when the sodomy started. And when it was over, he said to me, don't you ever tell anybody. Don't you say a word about this or I'll make you look bad. Not knowing after that, he had already talked to some of the elders of the church and said, "You gotta watch him. He got a spirit on him. You gotta watch him, he got a spirit on him." I didn't know this conversation took place until after the fact, after all of this came out. And so they told me what he said.
So there was a meeting about you. with him and the leaders of your church?
Obviously, or at least he spoke it during that time.
During the revival?
Oh yeah,
Mm.
yeah.
So this incident happened. What did you do afterwards?
Oh, I went back to my mom's house and I shut down. I wasn't going to say anything. I felt really bad. I was afraid. I was afraid to say anything because I remember him saying, if you say anything about this, I'm going to make you look bad. And so I had to go back the next night and pick him up for church, knowing what took place the night before. And let me say this. That was without consent. That happened. I didn't consent to that.
And then he intimidated you and said he, not with bodily harm, but I have a recording where he kind of alluded, years later when he talked to you, that he was like, well, I'm not here to use my power and influence, like he was still trying to intimidate you with his words.
Yeah.
And you were very impressionable at that time, and he knew what to say to scare you, whereas the other gentleman we'll talk about, he used physical intimidation. And you were right for that kind of, based on what was going in the church, where you said manipulation and control, and they used it here.
Yeah.
So he was just piggybacking off of what was already put into play.
And not only that, but you got to also remember that we were being taught that you don't say anything to your unsaved loved ones about anything that goes on in the church.
And not to question authority either, huh?
Yeah, but what I found out later on, they were doing it. They talked about us to their family members.
They weren't in the church.
Absolutely.
So you left and you went home to your mother. And then what happened in regards to the church the following day or later that night?
I had to go back and pick him up for church. After that revival.
Like nothing happened?
Yes. And this was the last night of the revival. I went back, took him to church.
Mhm.
Last night of the revival, I never forget, I had a LeBaron coupe, champagne color, 2-door. And my mother had bought me, this was the second car my mother had bought me.
Mhm.
I was driving in high school. My mother had bought me a car in high school.
Mhm.
And I remember picking him up, my heart pounding. I couldn't even look at him when I picked him up.
And he's sitting right next to you
Yeah, I
because
couldn't
you're
look at
driving.
him. I couldn't look at him. So I took him to church. We had church. I'm sitting there and so much, like, feeling so embarrassed and feeling like I'm scared because this man told me I can't say anything. I really wanted to say something and I couldn't say anything.
Mhm.
And so the last night of that meeting,
It's okay.
the last night of that meeting, and you can hear some of the details on another recording, but the last night of that meeting, I was asked to go and stay in the hotel with him by the pastor.
Mhm.
Now, let me tell you how it happened. Because we were the only church that would go in on Sunday and come out Monday. So we were always in church late. I remember my first year of high school, I missed 72 days out of high school. That meant I missed every Monday because I couldn't get up from Sunday. Because after Sunday, we didn't get into Monday morning. I was in high school, I was in school, right? I missed 72 days, either 72 or 76 or 70 some days. So I did have a habit of sleeping, and because naturally I'm worn out, right? So I remember her saying to me, "Brother Bells," that's how she said it. She said, "Why don't you? I tell you, I don't want you to oversleep. I want the preacher to get to the airport on time." She said, "Why don't you just go to Why don't you stay the night? There's a couch there because there was a couch there. Why don't you stay the night and take him to the airport so you won't have him late?" I said, "No." I said, I'll get up on time. I remember this alarm clock I had at my mom's house. It was 2 alarms on 1 clock. I said, "I got 2 alarms." She said, "Oh, come on, I don't want you to be late." And then she said, why don't you and Michael go?" I kept saying, "No, I can do it. Why don't you and Michael go? Won't both of y'all just go and stay with the man at the hotel and y'all just get up in the morning and take him so you won't be late?"
Mm.
And by that time I said, "You know what? Okay." Okay. I wasn't going to say no anymore because I couldn't say anything about what happened the night before. Let me tell you something. They mad now? They should have got mad when it happened. They mad because it's coming out.
Yeah.
They're angry that it's coming out. They got mad in April that it came out. But I wish they had taken that same anger when it was disclosed to them. We wouldn't be sitting here today. Right? So me and Michael got in the car, and I knew I wasn't going to stay. I dropped them off. I said, I'll be back. I knew I wasn't coming back. I went back to my mom's house. I crawled in that bed. I set that alarm, make sure I got up on time. Because I had to take him I had to take him to Gainesville to fly to Gainesville.
Right.
I picked him up. When I got to the hotel, Michael was already walking. He was pacing, and I could tell him by his look on his face that something happened, right? And Michael got in my car. Bloomer came out. Oh, sorry. Can you edit that? Sorry. Just came out. Hey,
man.
he came
That's
out.
the title
He
of
came
the
out.
interview.
He came out of the motel and got in the car. And something he said, I was so puzzled by it. When he got in the car, the first thing he said was, "You failed the test, but Michael passed." And I just looked. I drove to Gainesville. I think he had some foreign currency he gave Michael at that time. And Michael's got shirts or whatever reason. And I dropped him off to the airport. Now the ride back was very interesting because Michael asked me, he said, "Brother Battles, why did you leave me at that hotel?" I looked at him, I said, "What do you mean?" He looked at me, he said, "What? You knew about that man, didn't you?" And I said, "What happened?" And he proceeded to tell me. And I said, "I'm sorry." I said I couldn't say anything. So he told me I could not say anything or it would make me look bad. And we rode, it was about a 45-minute ride. He said, it was a situation, and we talked about it. And I said, "I'm sorry." I said, "I just couldn't say anything. I felt really bad because I was told I couldn't say anything." And how it came out is another question you want to ask because I can just go on. And
Yeah,
I'm reliving that night.
I don't want to make you feel uncomfortable or upset you. That was my biggest concern with us even doing the interview. But it seems like you handling it better than me because I'm just getting angry about a minute.
Well, I dealt with it for so long. Somebody asked me a question and asked, am I, because now I am public and my face is showing. They asked, did I feel safe? And am I afraid that somebody's going to hurt me? And my answer is, I'm not living in fear anymore.
Good.
How much more could they do to me? Like, how much more damage and hurt could they do to me? I've bottled this up for many, many, many years. Feeling bad about myself, self-mutilation inwardly, questioning everything about me. Couldn't talk to nobody because I was told I couldn't talk to. Didn't know at the time it was control and manipulation. I had no outlet. No outlet.
And he was, Michael, well, I know from the countless hours of audio that I listened to, this poor young man was beaten until he submitted to
Let me say this because I want to correct something. Because I spoke with someone that knew about the situation as well and was very close to him. The one that we accused, so the church members said this is what the one that we accused of doing this said he beat us, which I wasn't beaten. We were, I wasn't beaten. I know that for a fact. But I heard, because I was not there, I heard. I can only speak of those things that I know and that I've seen and testified to that I've experienced of my own. I did not experience that. But I hear that, and I thought he experienced it as well. But just having a conversation the other day, this is what they said, the accused said he was doing to us. He said that to the leadership, and the leadership came back and said, he said he beat them with a belt because he saw them going down the path of homosexuality. So even if that was the case, why does a pastor allow a visitor to come in and beat their members and not check them?
That is sick. Okay. So he left town and he came back. He was invited back by your.
By the same pastor.
After
Right.
she knew.
Oh yeah, so this is how it got out. I remember her telling me that,
Oh, we're gonna take a break.
I remember her telling me, and then we could take the break of this. I remember her telling me one day, because I just got tired of all the riffraff. She would preach or whatever, or say she preaching, and then it would just be long. Everything was just long. Everybody, the church had a reputation of being there all night. And so I remember I started leaving early. She should have paid attention to the pattern, because I never left church early. I started leaving church early because I just got fed up. I was like, I'm gonna take my ducks and move them to another pond. I remember her when I left. She met me outside and she said, Brother Bales. That's how she pronounced my name. She said, God has been dealing with me about you. And it didn't make any sense, and y'all probably gonna fall out when I say that. She said, do you know that you'll go to hell for leaving church early? And I said,
That's
But-
mind control.
yes, but I said, say that again? She said, yeah, God has been dealing with me about you. Do you know that you'll go to hell for leaving church early? I said, I don't believe that. God ain't that kind of God. Had I known then what I know now, I would have probably asked her, if I'm going to hell for leaving church early, she's certainly going for being late, because she's always late. So, but anyways, we can pick up if you need to pick up. All right, so I remember that night I got to my destination and I called her up. And I said to her, she answered, I said, and by this time I'm frustrated. I'm really bothered by the whole fact that God is telling you about me, but he couldn't tell you about what happened. And I called her up. I said, Pastor Fales, I know you said God talks to you and you fast and pray and you seek the face of God. I said, but did you know you had a homosexual running your revival?
And what was that answer?
Well, you were the one with him. I said, but you asked me to be with him. No, I didn't. I'm like, that just baffled me. How you said, you didn't ask me to take this man around. So, yeah.
That is crazy. That is so crazy. Gonna take a quick break.
All right. Trying to do this without being so emotional, and I have to.
Brother, do what you gotta do. We need to take a quick break, y'all.
This is the best I've been able to compose.
I'm gonna be honest with you, I've been practicing all day, and my son would say, are you sure you're gonna be able to do this? And I would say, this man has waited so long to have his story told. I can't be the weak link. And, but I've just been dealing with so much anger.
Yeah.
I've been dealing with so much anger
So
behind.
think about what you've heard even on those calls, and think about what I've experienced for all these years.
Right. And I've been walking, I would listen 20 minutes at a time. That was as long as I could take.
Yeah.
And then I had to go outside, and we had snow, and I'm listening to this stuff, and I'm out there in the snow with my cigar, walking my dog, trying to calm myself back down to go have to do this in another 20 minutes.
Yeah.
And I listened to 10 hours of that 20 minutes at a time.
Do you wanna play something so they could hear some of the recordings?
Yeah, this one,
And maybe we could break while they listen to the conversation.
yeah, I
Can
got
we do
something.
that?
Yeah, I
That
got
you all
something.
can hear some of the conversation that was had, and we could take a break, because I really need to take a break before I break.
Yeah, which one do you want me to play?
Well, go ahead and, what you were playing,
The one with,
yeah, when I was asked when the bishop asked me.
I'll play that one. Yeah,
Yeah, play that one, play that conversation
yeah,
between,
all the parties involved.
absolutely, from the beginning of that. So
We're
that-
gonna go from the beginning on that one.
Yeah, so that I can take a break, if you don't mind, I really need to take a break so that I don't break.
Yeah, we got,
I'm on this. Hold on. You want to say? Hello?
Can you back up a little bit more?
That's the start.
That's the start of it?
And then also Jimmy Darryl, this is the young man that I.
okay, we're gonna take a break while y'all listen to that.
The educated Newman. Oh, yeah. What about it? He's on the phone as well.
So you wanna tell them this is a conversation?
Yeah, I'll tell 'em. This is a conversation between,
So,
Larry Reed,
Well,
Bernard Jordan.
I'm phone interview with him because I'm gonna run it on YouTube and on Facebook with the names blotted out. And, so I was trying to find a way, aside from, it's really becoming, people want to decide to go ahead and do that. Just because the comments and the emails that are coming in asking for, we want to know what's going on with the guy that called and then some of them things that we want to go through, we talked about, but I'm not sure that, but they wanted to get a court, so they had a hang up on this thing. They feel like that we have put him down and not allowed him to have his moment and share everything, so I let him talk to me, record the conversation, and ask him questions. So I'm gonna go put it in my software and pull out the name, what run it. But I also asked him, I said, you can ask him as well, about closure, what do you want? I mean, if it's closed, we got on closure. I said, would you have closure if someone would just confess to you and tell you, and be honest and ask you to give us a big have a open conversation? And I think his answer would have been yes, if he said, instead of that, he said he's gonna lie, he's manipulated, he did it last time when all this stuff happened, he's not gonna be honest. And so, that's where we're at right now. And this is why I say to people, although it goes silent, don't mean it goes away. Y'all are gonna all listen to me at the end. I love y'all all. I love you all. But this is no shortcut to getting around it. And this is gonna be an example for all of us as preachers. We gotta own where we failed at and restore where we can. That is within reason. But if the apology and the clearing is clear with integrity, it will be done because there's no money that can buy the forgiveness. It's the purity of the heart in the space that does the work. It's like if you give your offering, you don't give your offering with your bank account or with your hand or with your wallet. The Bible says, come and bring it with a willing heart. You give your offering with your heart. Oh, Jesus Christ. See, y'all gonna make me go back into this coaching thing again. I thought I was moving away from this. Well, Bishop, that's what a lot of the preaching and stuff needs in order to get clear. Now, I'm not taking nobody's side. I mean, there's no side to take. There is no side. The only side there is righteousness.
Closer so the audio will be
And that's why,
No, here.
when my son-in-law found his real birth mother, and he has his other mother, and he says, should I accept them? I'm afraid I want to speak to her. I don't, you don't get that emotion. I says, you got to ask yourself the question, do you want to be right or do you want to be reconciled?
Oh, they know.
It's not even about being right, it's about being reconciled. And I think that that's where your show is going to start to go. Is that you're not outing people to get people to do right. You're outing people to get them to be reconciled and balanced. Balance the books of life in this nature, in this lifetime, so that you don't go into your grave unresolved. If you haven't fought against your brother, you have to need to get at the altar.
Well, Bishop, after this, would you prophesy the other night, saying what's going to take place during the summer?
They said they can't
There's going to be a
understand.
whole
They
bunch
don't
of
know what's
folks coming
going on.
out with a whole bunch of other preachers.
On the live, like
He
Facebook.
said to me, you have to go live every day. I just got off the interview with JD Bush. I'm having to air it now. I just got finished on that interview.
Yes,
Yeah. I got an interview, his interview, after I interview tomorrow. That's 2 weeks of me going live 4 times a week.
Oh, I didn't either.
It's the word of the Lord. But it is going to be what it is.
So that mic doesn't work?
The mic is connected to the
And we just got to make sure that on our team, that all of us have got to get clear and all our stuff about past because it's going to come out. You can't walk in this space and everybody's got to show up now.
Everything else is working.
This is the precursor.
You have the microphone connected to the YouTube.
No, but they were hearing
And if
everything
you
else.
bury
They couldn't hear this. That's what they're saying, they can't hear.
They can't hear that. They can hear you talking.
Finds a house left and comes back 7 times
Tell them
because it
I edited, tell them the final version of the interview.
I'm gonna pause this real quick. For those of you on Facebook,
See, that cross points in 2 directions.
So you couldn't hear it if it was there?
That's connected to that.
for those of you on Facebook,
Version of the interview.
this is what we're doing.
Everything that was said
Since you couldn't hear the audio,
on the live though, because it's like small.
you can hear over the top, but they could hear over the top on,
They,
they could hear the interview, but they couldn't hear the audio.
correct.
Okay. This is what we're gonna do to correct that
They
problem.
said it was muffled.
It was muffled. Okay. We were taking a break, we wanted you to hear that. So this is what we're gonna do. Because I was gonna do it, over the weekend anyway. I was gonna do it like an after show. The audio clips that we didn't play tonight, that we don't play tonight, I was gonna upload them so that you could hear them. This will be one of those clips. I apologize, Facebook, I'll do it, but now if you wanna go over to the YouTube channel, you can, I'm gonna continue playing it, you can definitely hear it there. I'm actor Darryl Moore on YouTube, and you can click over there, and I'll continue playing it. I mean, everything else, I guess you could hear, but because this is from another device, playing into another device, you really couldn't hear it. And when I was holding it close, you still couldn't hear, you said it was muffled, but you could hear everything else. So that was, if you wanna go over, like I said, you go to my YouTube channel, you can hear it there, cause we're gonna continue playing it. And then again, like I said, there's 10 hours worth of audio that, of course, we couldn't play 10 hours worth of audio. And the key thing I wanted was for Jimmy to have his story told in his voice. And the audio was just here for backup and let you know the parties, some of the parties involved, and to also confirm what we've been saying all along about his story. They will be uploaded over the weekend. They've been edited. We made the decision to only play key little clips here and there, so it will, just as a backup to his story, the key element is for him to be talking. And that's what we wanted to accomplish. We wanted him to be here talking, and that's what we're doing. All right, so, again, if you can't hear us on Facebook, just switch over to YouTube. Actor Darryl Moore. It's not hard to find. It's Darryl D. Moore. You'll find me. I'll pop up. And it's already live. You can, because we're gonna continue playing it because we.
Are they gonna be able to hear it on YouTube?
Yes.
Okay. Can you play the conversation between me and the accused person?
Oh, I was gonna upload that, but that's about.
No, you know, the parts that you were going to play.
Right.
I mean, it's fine, we can.
Yeah. Okay. So after this all happened, how long did you stay in?
You know what, Darryl? I don't know, but we've been working on something, me and some of the people that was there. We're working on that timeline because he came back again. So he came back again. And so this time, this Sunday, it was he was in the church versus the tent. This particular tent. The first time it was just the church. This time it was coming back for the tent. And I think the tent is normally in October. But they had him in the church on a Sunday morning. And I didn't go to church. And that was unusual. I was in church every time the doors were open. It was so unusual. I was in the church every time the doors were open. This time, I didn't go. And the pastor sent 2 people to my mom's house to talk to me. That was Elder Baker, Carol Baker's husband, which is her daughter. That's her son-in-law, and Elder Hart. They came and walked up to me, and they came up to my mom's house, and I came out. They stood outside on the side of the road, and we talked. The pastor wanted to know why he didn't come to church. But wait a minute. I told you, Michael told you what happened. Because at the time, I wasn't a part of the conversation where they had called the pastor that he was associate pastor for. I wasn't a part of that conversation. And so they got involved. So when she invited him back, I didn't go to church. Then she sent 2 people to come and find out why I didn't come. So I told them why I didn't come. Now I have to say this because I think the only person knows about this is the son. I told Elder Hart's son what his daddy said. Elder Hart told me, he said, I believe you. He said the moment he walked in that door, God spoke to me and said something was wrong with me. He said, but don't say nothing. These people were kind of afraid of her. And it was dominated by, the church was more female dominated. And so he came to me, but he also said I couldn't say anything about how he felt. There were people that felt a certain way, but they just wouldn't go against her.
Right.
But I remember her sending another young lady, my classmate Trina, to pick me up, to bring me to the house. And I went to her house, and she said to me, Brother Baz, why you didn't come to church? And I looked at her, and I said, I used a metaphor. I said, think of it this way. You got a guest preacher that come to your church. So you have a husband and a wife, and that guest preacher rapes that man's wife. Do you think you can come and listen to him preach? She said, I'll tell you what, because the second time he came back, it was by the river, right? He stayed at the hotel by the river. I tell you, don't y'all be lying on that man. It's like, oh my God. We telling
Not
you
worried about you.
not worried about me or Michael. I tell you what, let's go to the hotel now and confront him. And I said, okay, let's do it.
You called a bluff.
And when I did that, she said, no, let's not do it that way. She said, I tell you what, tonight, because we're going to be under the tent. Tonight we're going to be under the tent. You don't have to come to church. And I'm thinking to myself, you don't have to worry about that, I'm not coming. She said, but what I'll do is, I'll send somebody to come get you when we're almost out of the tent. And she said, this is how I want you to do it. She said, I'm going to keep him in that pulpit in the tent, because it had a little pulpit up there. She said, and when you see us almost out, all the people are out, then you come in and say to him, I want to talk to you in front of my pastor. I was down for it. I was ready. I wanted to do it. I wanted to do it. That played out, with the exception of I couldn't confront him. When we got, she sent someone at me. We sat in the car. The tent emptied out, and she sent Sister Dorothy Montgomery to me and said, Pastor said, don't do it. It crushed me because my opportunity to confront was taken from me again. The first time I told you what happened, you didn't do anything about it. Then you invited him back, which was a slap in my face, to come and preach. And then you expected for me to come to church. So I felt unprotected. The people that I trusted the most, or should, I grew up in that church at the age of 13. These are people supposed to protect me. You're my leader. You're supposed to protect your sheep. But prior to this, before the whole, it's so wearing, because she said to me, well, the only reason I invited him back, Brother Bal, is because he's going to help me get some of the other big-time preachers that I've been wanting to come to my church. Who does that?
Somebody that doesn't care.
You want to get big-time preachers in your church, but 2 of your members, boys, in 1 week, 2 boys in 1 week were sodomized by your guest preacher. 2 boys in 1 week, and you invite them back because you want to get big-time preachers to come to your church? It's insane. Again, it is not about exposing an individual. It's really about exposing a system. That system says, as long as it works for me, I don't care what goes on with you or what was done to you, this gonna make me look good. Who does that? And that crushed me. I was saddened by it. I was angry. I was upset because you're saying to me, I don't give up of what he did to y'all. This man is going to help me.
Further margin.
Yeah, because that's what she was. She wanted to be that. She was that person that brought in preachers from other cities that we've never heard of. So that's why she would go to these conventions and things of that sort, so she can bring them back and be the known person. And she was at one point. That she brought these people in, but you didn't care about the boys in your church. I wanted to be protected just like she protected her grandchild, her grandson, from his uncle on his daddy's side that molested him. Let's talk about that. Why do you protect me or anybody else? So it was the children that didn't have parents that went to that church. We were, I feel like, targeted, but we weren't protected.
You looked at it as being expendable.
Well, yeah, we weren't protected. Her family was protected. You understand? It bothers me because you preach holiness, so you say, and y'all don't know nothing about me, and I do right. But let's talk about this part. Let's talk why this was never. Why wasn't this ever addressed? That you have brought this. It's a system, man. As long as it works for me, if I can benefit from you, then I don't care what you do. Let's make it work. If I can benefit from you. But the moment people can't benefit from you, they try to bury you. They're through with you. They wash their hands. When you can't offer them anything else. I've been in this church. It frustrates me because there are people in the church that are covering up the rapes, the molestations, that will have you questioning everything about you as an individual. You see, I wasn't protected. And they can lie all day long. I got the recordings right here. I was not protected. But yet, the hand that helped turn me is connected to the mouth that tries to kill me. That lady told me she told me when I left that church, they was going to be bringing me back in a box. Witchcraft at its best. Witchcraft and control. You mean to tell me because I leave your church, I'm going to die? How do you... But we experience this in the church. Church is a place of healing.
Supposed to be.
A place where you come to learn. Not a place where you get dominated over. Listen, I'm not even sorry about how I'm feeling right now because I've experienced this pain from this church. And that lady to this day does not speak to me. What you mad about? You should have got mad when it happened. Should have got mad when it happened. We wouldn't be here today. We would not be here today if she had did her job as a shepherd. You're more interested in your name and being bringing big time preachers in your church. But two of your boys was sodomized and you don't give a care? Who does that? And you say you're a leader. You are a liar. You were more concerned about you and your reputation. Her daughter came to me and said, I believe you. Her daughter said, I believe you. I have no reasons to lie. This was degrading. This was painful. Do you know how many people that have gone to church and have been molested, have been raped, and these pastors are covering up for them, for the predator. Everybody wanted to try to protect the person that did it, but nobody cares about who it was done to. Why not? And you're God's shepherd? How? How do you say you are shepherding people, but you're allowing people to come in and sodomize, rape, and hurt the people in your church? But then you get mad at the person that's telling it. I promise you, I wouldn't be in this place today. I'm in Cleveland, Ohio. I flew here to do this. I would not be here today if she had did her job. She needs to repent. But she gonna lie, and her whole camp covering for her. It's a system that needs to be destroyed. It's a system. It's the root. The root is the system. Cut it, destroy it, expose it. I'm not here to expose an individual. Let's expose the system. It's a damnable, evil, demoniacal system. And it bruised me. It scarred me. It hurt me. I'm a grown man, but I lived with this pain every day. It would have killed my mother if she had known this. It's a damnable evil. And it's happening everywhere. And I don't care what my critic says, because I'm not here to talk to you. I have nothing to say to my critics. I'm here for those who have experienced what I have experienced. And people covered it up. It's like a wound and you take a bandage and put over it. I'm here to talk to those who have experienced what I don't give a care about those who are trying to defend it. I'm here to speak up for those who didn't have a voice. I had the opportunity to speak about it and it was snatched from me back then when she wouldn't have let me up, when she wouldn't allow me to approach. Maybe she didn't know how to deal with it. That lady hates me to this day. She hates me. And her whole camp does. You should have hated what happened. I wouldn't be here today. Call me whatever, but you won't be able to call me a liar. You'll never be able, you can call me every name in the book, but you can't call me a liar. I would never be that. Never, ever be that. So my critics, be who you are. I'm not here for you. I'm here for those who have experienced shame in the church. We're not talking about outside of the church. In the church. I'm here for you. You don't have to be silent anymore. Talk about it. Tell your story. Tell your story. So you can take a lot of things from me. You might be able to take my car, my clothes, my house. But one thing you can't take from me is my experiences. I've had them already. This is my experience. This is my story. I know what happened. I know what it did to me. They know what happened. They know what happened. They tried to cover it up. Because the daughter told somebody, well, there are some things that took place. We don't know whether my family going to get a lawyer or not. Go get one. Because you're going to need one soon. Trust me. Go get one. Because there are some things that happened and took place we don't want nobody to know about. Why are you still covering it up? I even reached out. I even told somebody to reach out to her in April when I came on Larry Reed Live. Let's talk about it. She didn't want to talk. He said, oh no, she ain't on your side. That's what Larry said, she ain't on your side. Well, I know she wasn't on my side, because if she was on my side, she'd have never invited that preacher back. She would have discussed all of that right there when it happened. As a mother or a father, when you to protect your children, you're supposed to speak up and stand up for them. I didn't have that. So all my life, I stood up for myself. I got family, though, that's watching. They love me. Denied all day long. It doesn't matter. This is my story. Yeah.
I promise you, I will help you to the end.
Yeah.
Oh. Like I said when we took a break, this has been hard for me, and it didn't happen to me.
Yeah.
As I've gotten older in life, I'm not as animated. I don't get as angry as I used to. But I promise you this: had I been helping you with this in my younger days when I was my son's age, I'd be like, dude, let's get in the car. Let's go take care of this. You stay in the car, I go up in the house, I do it. That was my thinking.
I have family like that right now.
And I'm angry, and a lot of that when I was listening to the audio clips, and I will be putting those up. But when you started opening up tonight, I was scared of how I didn't want to hurt you, but I wanted you to be heard. And I had all this fancy stuff I wrote out. I was gonna ask you that. You telling this story and with the passion and conviction, any person that's listening that doubts you, has no feeling, this is the...
You know what I understand, Darryl? There are two types of people. The ones that would critique, would be critics, they never experienced it. Never experienced anything like it, so they can't understand it. But then you have those who are just like the person that we're talking about, that system, and they never want it uncovered. They never want it uncovered. And so they'll try to protect and y'all ain't got no real tissue in there. This is too hard. I can't use this.
Well, like my dad gave me mine.
That's all right. That's a handkerchief. You done rolled this up. We all crying. Yeah, I just a little bit soft in this.
I just couldn't, because I'm an ugly cry.
So there are people who will protect this kind of thing because they are just like that. They violated somebody. And they silenced them. I was silenced for years about this. I shut down. I can't even begin to explain to you how I felt throughout my life that I could never talk about it. So let's debunk something. I don't even know how, we've been on for a while.
I ain't worried about that.
Listen, let's debunk something. I called in the Darryl Reed Live in April.
Right. I remember. I watched that show.
I did. Because I was really interested in that conference, and I saw this person's name and face on that flyer. And I called in. Now, mind you, there was an awareness that I was calling and what the call was going to be about.
Beforehand?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
There was, I didn't know if I was going to do it. I was still afraid. I didn't know I was going to do it, but I called in. And then we proceeded on to talk about it. And I reached out to Larry. No, I mean, he's a funny guy. Platform is funny, but these are real life issues. I saw the response from. I got to give him this credit when he, the video is not up now, but there was some things happened, some facial expressions and some questions that was asked that should not have been asked on live.
Right.
And so he did apologize when he called me. I didn't mean to make you feel that way, blase, blase, blase. And we proceeded to go home and we was going to do my story. I got to debunk this because it's been said that he didn't do my story because I didn't have irrefutable truth. And that's not true because you're here in the audio. That's not true.
Right.
Because I said I do not trust this process. I don't trust this process because you're friends with this guy. Y'all in the same camp.
Right.
You're in the same camp.
Mm-hmm. He's one of his sponsors of his show.
So I was the one that said, I don't trust the process.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason, what made me not trust the process was he kept insinuating that I do things with him, with the accused person.
Right. The book.
Go on live with him. I mean, I want to see you all. You'll see that you'll upload all of that.
Yes,
I want to see you all. I want a story. I don't want just words. I want a story, and I want you all to be able to come. I got it in my. I want y'all to be able to come on live and talk about something because the real conversation was about a system that failed me.
Mm-hmm.
That was the conversation. That was the live that was supposed to happen.
Right.
They already asked me not to call the names. I was asked, don't call his name.
Mm-hmm.
It's okay, and I was good with that. I was good with not calling the names. You heard Bishop Jordan say,
Yeah.
"Can you tell your story
Without calling names.
without calling names?"
I don't understand.
And I said,
I don't understand
yes.
why he would put that requirement in, but you were gracious enough to go along with it.
Well, I said yes. But then when Larry started saying, "Well, I want y'all to go for, I want them to see y'all reconciling." Why are we reconciling when I never called his name on the show?
Hey.
How do you want me to reconcile with somebody that I'm telling you sodomize me? This is an issue that this has been my pain for many, many years, but you want me to
Almost
go
3 decades.
But you want me to go on your platform with him and show what?
Ratings.
Well, again, I'm here to expose systems. Then I said, well, now I can continue to write my book.
Mm-hmm.
Then Larry said, well, you need to get with
The accused.
the accused, because
When the audio show.
the audio show it and tell you suggesting that I should do things with him to show what? Like to be on a public platform. And that's what made me say, I'm backing out of this. I don't trust this process. I need healing. I need to go see a counselor. But you want me to come public with this person and be seen reconciling. I can forgive you, but I don't have to eat with you.
Right. my dad used to have a saying he would teach me. He said, "If a dog bites you once, it's the dog's fault. If the dog bites you a second time, it's your fault because you knew to stay away from that dog because that dog bites."
I wish there was a way we could play the beginning of that clip with
one?
me and the person talking.
It's a 20-minute clip. But
The first 2 minutes, maybe. Did you cut out all the? Because I don't want to add any of that other stuff to it.
oh no, I cut it up.
All right, I want y'all to hear something. It's painful. It was painful for me. And I'm here. This is my first time showing my face publicly. I've called in twice. Called in, and I'm here. Can y'all hear that?
How we start this conversation?
Can you all hear that?
Yes, sir.
Are they gonna be able to hear the next?
First and foremost,
But of course, Facebook won't hear.
Severely
YouTube,
bothered
the
by
final video will hear it.
situation, and as I talk, you'll understand where I'm going. I won't lie or play games or cover up in any sense of the word, and you'll learn that about me. When I first got the telephone call from Larry Reed, well, actually I got a text from Larry Reed, and he said that someone came on the show and they were saying XYZ, and so someone else told him that the person was talking about was me. I was like totally dumbfounded. I was like, I don't know what the hell that is, where that's coming from, blah blah blah, so and so like that. You know, I'm in deadlock, and I didn't have a name, or even if I did have a name, I wouldn't have remembered it, what have you. But when he showed me today, when he showed me the picture, I said, well, who is this? What's the name? And he gave me the name. I didn't recognize it. And he showed me the picture. When he showed me the picture, immediately, bam! I mean, you're a little older, but immediately it went right back to I knew exactly who you were. And I want to start off the conversation, and then we can have the whole conversation out. I'm going to be completely honest with you. I pray that you, the same way, at the top of the conversation, I know that there's an apology that has to continue for the. I didn't remember you at all. I appreciate that.
and this is what I need.
Yeah. Can I say one other thing? Wait, can I say one other thing? Can I say one other thing?
I can stop it if it's too much.
Take your time.
Jesus. I got you.
It's okay. Take your time. Take your time. Let me be right. I just want to say one other thing, and then we can have our talk.
I'm going live. I want them to hear because they can't hear from the watch party.
Go ahead.
Keep going.
I wanted to apologize to you before we got into the conversation.
I can't take it anymore. I'm sorry, I can't.
I understand because it was wearing on me. So now you know. I already knew he's been transparent from the beginning about this. Sure. Do you need a little time, brother? Because I don't want to put no undue pain on you. I really don't.
It's okay.
We take a break. I need you.
It's okay. Let's go.
Okay. He had to live through this. And you see the effect it is having on him. And you saw the effect that it had on me having to listen to it, seeing him so. I'm really, I'm trying to keep my promise to you, and I'm not gonna allow myself to get angry, because that's not gonna serve a purpose here.
No.
I'm gonna help. Like I said, I'm gonna remain focused. You put me in focus all week, because I was just angry, and my anger was pushing me in a direction that was not gonna be beneficial to your story. And you even with all of this on you, you remain steadfast. Like, you wanna go after the system that made this okay to be happening to people and to be covered up by people. And I had to put my anger to the side and see what you were seeing. And I'm gonna say this to you. You're a better man than I could ever be. And I applaud you for having the courage. And people told me that I consulted to do this with you. They said, you watch. There's a Jimmy in every family. There's a Jimmy in every church. Sometimes families have more than one Jimmy, and churches have more than one Jimmy. But they said because you came forward, you was gonna start healing. People were gonna get healed and delivered because of you. And I believe that because people have been contacting me saying, it happened to me, it happened to me, it happened to me, it happened to me. And I want to hear what he has to say and how he dealt with it.
It was painful. I had to live under a box for years. And you know what's unique is the same place that I got hurt in, like the system, I used that place to anesthetize my pain. Meaning I was singing, I would travel, I would preach, I would do this. I'm still trying to move forward. Using the same, being in that same system, trying to anesthetize my pain. Wasn't working. It was not working. And I just, to this day, oh God help me. It's just been a mess. And to be able to talk about it in April was a burden lifted off of me. To be a burden, it was a burden lifted that I was able to speak and talk about what happened to me in the church. That system, again, I'm not here to expose an individual. I want to expose this whole damnable system. And you know what? And I know it's going to surprise a lot of people. I don't want nothing to do with that system. Y'all can jump, skip, hop, speak in tongues and can't speak to people. I don't want nothing to do with your system. Because all I've seen was people get hurt and you cover it up. And when you get mad, you turn people against that person. It's all about power, manipulation, and control. Nobody wants that. We was never to dominate over each other. Mm-hmm. If you want to go by your Bible, we're supposed to dominate over the earth, not each other. He said, I'll give you dominion over the earth. I don't want nothing to do with your system. Nothing. I've been a part of it for years. That's why I know how to circumvent it. That's why people falling out of church. They don't want to come to your service. They don't want to come to your church. You don't even want to be there. You want nothing to do with your system. When I called in April, I would not call the name because I know they're connected to this pastor and they kind of want to back out of it. I did this call in April. And now there's a bishop there and called me up and said, man, I apologize. I heard your voice. You didn't give your name. But I heard your voice. And I want to apologize for failing you. I said, man, you didn't fail me. My then pastor failed me. He said, but I remember you telling me this story many years ago, and I should have said something. I won't call your name. You're safe. But that's what people need to do, start calling this stuff out. So I got to debunk all of that stuff that was said, that the first blogger wouldn't move on with my story because of this, and here's the interview. The interview that y'all heard over there in Patreon at that other blogger, that was not the interview. The interview was supposed to be about how the system failed me. Not that other stuff. I already promised not to call names. I can give good descriptions. I never have to call names. So, yeah. This is wearing me out.
I can see that, and I'm gonna wrap this up. But this is what I'm going.
I ain't ready to go. I done came a long ways. I flew in today for this.
I understand. But
I'm here to talk to. I'm here to talk to people that's like me.
Mhm.
Matter of fact, get out of those churches that has covered up all that foolishness. Leave them. Stop funding it. One of the things I hate the most, and I don't use that word often, hate is a strong word. I hate for people to preach against something publicly that they're doing privately. I hate that.
That's being a hypocrite.
I hate to hear people getting up speaking against stuff publicly that you know you're doing privately. I hate that.
That's being a hypocrite.
So all you that say I didn't have proof, irrefutable proof, there's no need to apologize if you did. Oh, I know what you're going to say. Oh, you apologize for forgetting you. No. How would you remember me? Why, after you see a picture of me, why would you remember? What was it about me that made you remember me?
Right off the bat. Couldn't remember your name, but oh yeah, I know.
Can you just play that again? I just feel like the people need to hear this. Again, it is not about exposing an individual. It's really a system, and you are in a system. Man, let me tell you.
I'm not gonna do the part where you cry,
Yeah.
because that gets me when I'm gonna tell you, the only person that gets me worse when he was crying was that one over there, my son.
I love y'all, and the people that are watching, thank you for watching to hear my story. There's a lot of people putting a lot of other stuff out. But when I tell you I got about 10 hours of conversation,
And I got it.
and you have it.
Yes, sir.
10 hours of conversation.
Yes, sir. That's
Now, I'm
right.
not going to give y'all all that. But I'm going to give you the piece. Oh, you remember the piece that
Lie.
where he said he will admit it?
Oh yeah. That's
You have that?
yeah, but it's in the.
Gotcha.
But I will be putting that up.
Well, we're not going. I'll tell you how to do that. But I mean,
yeah, we'll talk about that afterward. But you want to hear this part again?
I want my people to hear that's live.
You learn that about me. When I first got the telephone call from Larry Reed, well, actually, I got a text from Larry Reed, and he said that someone came on the show and they were saying XYZ, and so someone else told him that the person was talking about was me. I was like totally dumbfounded. I was like, I don't know what the hell that is, where that's coming from, blah, 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 so and so like that. You know, I'm in deadlock. And I didn't have a name, or even if I did have a name, I wouldn't have remembered it, what have you. But when he showed me today, when he showed me the picture, because I said, well, who is this? What's the name? And when he gave me the name, I didn't recognize it. And he showed me the picture. When he showed me the picture, immediately, bam! I mean, you're a little older, but immediately it went right back to, I knew exactly who you were. And I want to start off the conversation.
And that's it. I mean, you don't know a name, but a face you don't forget. Because I'm poor with names. But once I see you, I know everything that we did together or went wherever we went together. I remember that. That's my memory.
Yeah.
Unless I suddenly have Alzheimer's or something. I got college classmates that I don't know their names, save my life. But as soon as I see them, I remember that keg party we went to, and we started laughing. And they walk away, I'm like, what's their name again? But I know them, and I know what the experience that we shared.
Yes. Sorry, y'all.
There's no changing that.
Yes.
There is no changing the experience. I may not remember names, but I remember the experience. And that's why when he saw your picture, he remembered. He didn't want to admit it, but
again, it's about a system.
system.
It's a system.
Because you had your voice silenced by people in high position.
Yeah, my voice was silent. I couldn't talk about it.
And when you did, they tried to shame you.
Absolutely.
Like you were the one that did wrong.
Yeah.
When you had the audacity to speak up for yourself, then you became the bad guy.
Yeah, people will often say, "Oh, what do they say? The person that's really disclosing what happened, they'll say, oh, they can't be. They have a term for. They'll say, be careful with him. No, be careful with the person that's doing all the dirt, not the person that's just. And it always baffles me that people run to see how the person is doing that actually did the crime.
Mm-hmm.
But they forget about the person that the crime was done to.
Crazy.
I wish there was a way you can play and upload this stuff.
Oh, I'm gonna upload it. Trust me. I already chopped it up, but I chopped it up because, like you said, it's 10 hours worth of footage, and I cut it down into 8 sections.
Yeah. So it is. So again, me not
Without
moving
names,
forward, yeah.
because we guaranteed that we wouldn't name certain names. You know, you didn't want innocent people to be put in harm's way, but the guilty must be held accountable.
They must be held accountable.
And I made sure when I edited, the people that didn't try to silence you, I made sure they're not mentioned.
Yeah.
But the ones that did try to silence you,
Yes.
and from April to now they're still trying to silence you,
Yes.
they are in there, and I'm not cut. I make no apologies for putting their name on Front Street, and it will be. In fact, I'm gonna sit up tonight because Jimmy, I did something today that my family hadn't got me to do. I hadn't had a cigar since earlier today, and I'm gonna sit up tonight with me a nice cigar, and I'm gonna upload that stuff for you because your voice gonna be heard. God is my witness tonight.
My voice needs to be heard. I have been silent about this, and I challenge tonight. I challenge that then pastor to really come clean and talk about what happened and why she would invite him back. Well, we know why.
Yes.
So that he could help her. But he said to me he never had any intentions on helping her. He never said, maybe in her mind, because it's right there in the conversation as well.
And that's gonna be put up.
So how, again, if I can't get over it, if somebody tells you, at least investigate it. That's your guest preacher that you brought in sodomized or whatever. I use the word sodomized because I was not underage, but I could be 60, 40, 30 and be sodomized, and the authority didn't do anything about it. You rather your name, you don't want people to think ill of you, but it's out now. Because he said it. I wish you can get to the end. Because he said, I cannot apologize for that core fails lady. I can only apologize. Say it. Put it there. Because I want them to hear. Because I don't want you to think I'm just calling names. I'm not just calling names. It's a system. A damnable, evil system. You're that greedy that you will allow somebody to experience such trauma and you not do anything about it because it's about you. Oh no. All I can say is lawyer up.
All day.
That's all I can say, because this is your year. Yeah. This is your year. Oh, God.
Hey,
All the way to the
You
end.
all right?
Yeah.
I'm good.
Oh,
I haven't yet. Call me back yet.
I
See
got
what's
it,
in the
I got it.
bathroom.
I
I'm
got
gonna
it.
call you back.
I got it.
Because
Check
I
that
think
anyway.
though the strategy was
Oh,
that he called me back so he'll know
God.
I'm recording him or have him
May
on
God
tape.
be with
And
you.
instead of
May
me
God be with
I'll call you
you. Don't worry about it. Just cut it off.
Yeah, it's all.
Oh, Jesus.
It's all.
Oh, God. Here we go.
Yeah. It's
Because
all.
I didn't want y'all to hear that part. All right? I don't even know where we go next.
Yeah, that was the one that I hit the wrong one.
We can't do that. Not on live.
Uh-uh.
And you can't be hitting the wrong button on live.
I sure can't.
So
But
sometimes
luckily
you
there wasn't
see,
no name mentioned.
well, sometimes you
Praise
see,
God.
I might get angry, I might be upset, and I might cry. All these emotions that's taking place because all of the damnable and evil things that has been done. When I was younger, yeah. What's next? It's so it's so much more. I don't know if I'm sure you're gonna have to cut some of this down.
Yeah, I am. I'm gonna have to cut it a long way down. Well, the
Which one was that piece there?
when you were talking to
Yeah. All right.
to the accused on the phone.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, but where is it on here?
right here.
But hit pause, turn it down, because I want them to hear something.
Mhm.
Because I'm not a liar.
I'm trying to pull it up now.
I mean, I got it in mind, but I would have to take them off of my live.
Yeah. I'm just trying to make sure I don't.
Like, oh yeah, she brought up.
That's not me.
Let me do it. Because
My finger never slide with crap on that doggone stupid thing. Oh, that's how you do it.
no, it still ain't working. Sir, you didn't clean your.
That's what it was. That's what it was.
Because I was scared.
This is it?
Yeah, that's the thing.
Listen, I'm a church boy. Let's just say that. I know how people operate. And
That's not it. That's not it.
That's the actual file. It's on there, but
All right, so
I got it on the big. It's on there because it's. Oh, I'm sorry. That's right. It is. Here it is. I apologize.
yeah.
That's
slide
it.
over. But right.
Should be right.
You just start it all over again.
It just dang it.
how do we start this conversation? Can I say something?
Do you know how to do this, sir? Because your dad, all this right here,
I get
every
it.
time I slide it over,
I had to hold it with my
trying to,
thumb.
oh, right here?
Yeah, and then slide it.
That doesn't work. Do you know how to do this, sir? I want the people to hear this. I just need to slide this here, but see, it slides over. See what happened?
I see what you're saying.
It's not working. There we go. Right there. Stop.
Right where?
Just when I said stop, stop. Right there. Just stop.
Well, you laid down in the bed and you propped up. You laid on your side.
Yeah, see, that's what.
You had your chin, this one, chin.
That's why I cut the names out.
You propped up.
It's okay. I'm telling the whole story.
Okay.
This is the person I'm talking to. Can y'all hear this?
Conversation.
Let me turn it up.
Hold on. I just marked it back. No worries.
Prophets have to be honest. I'm not a prophet. I'm more of an apostolic book.
What's wrong?
Then play.
When individuals come to us to be healing and what have you, we have this arrow in our quiver. I have a lot of emotions going on, man. reach out to you to stop telling your story or to start. Are you there? Or did I lose you? I remember you talking about getting off. And so then you started talking about the women in the church asking me questions. And I remember this one particular question. You said, and it was just who's Michael? Michael was the one that stayed with you.
What is that noise?
Just smoke detector.
Michael was the one that stayed because she asked both of us to stay. And I didn't.
Oh, that was the actual recording. That was you. Your
No,
house.
Michael wasn't. He was just a member of the church. That part wasn't even real, but it was what we thought of Gainesville. I picked you up from Jacksonville, but you flew out of Gainesville,
Same
Florida.
story.
And so
I got it on the
so when
larger
dropped
file.
you,
I got what we was playing tonight because I cut names out.
I'm saying that right now. Hush mode. I remember what you told me. You said if you tell anybody, I'm gonna make you look bad. Well, what I did not know was, according to them, you had already met with them and said you gotta watch it.
Oh, I'm just gonna stop. I can't listen anymore.
Okay.
I love y'all. Thank you for watching. I'm gonna get off of my live. I wanted y'all to hear, but you can continue.
Okay. When you called in on April, that's how I first discovered you.
Okay.
I first discovered in April.
Is
You'll
that fan on in
I get
there?
it. No.
So
I-
we doing the interview.
Because I'm closer. He walks a lot. He walks a
But
lot
you're doing the
loud.
interview right in the middle of the interview.
Yeah. But I'm editing all this. But again, when I was shocked about how you got cut off, and when you were just telling your story, and
Well, they cut me off because they thought I was gonna call the person's name.
right, but see, that's my whole point. You have a right to, if someone's done you wrong, in my opinion, and in courts everywhere else, you're an accuser, you have a right to identify the accused.
Yeah, but I think I gave enough description of that person. People knew who it was.
Yeah, but see,
But I was told I was deserved. I was
private.
told in private that I deserved a chance to go on live because I didn't call the name.
right,
I mean, I got that in there too.
yes, you do. And I find that very odd because had you been allowed to just say what you had to say in the beginning, it'd have been over with. But to come back, a follow-up to something that you could have took care of right there because you were already on and talking.
Well, you know, I really wanted, they gave me the opportunity to, I thought, it was snatched from me after that third party call, after the people involved called.
Mm-hmm.
It was, that opportunity was taken from me, basically. I mean, because they kept suggesting that I go in front of people with this person. I want to see y'all. It's in the text messages. It's in the voicemail. I want to see y'all.
Mm-hmm.
I want the people to see you reconciling, and that just didn't make sense to me. That says to me, I can't trust this process. So, yeah.
Yeah, and I remember you in audio explaining why you backed out from further.
But you first heard me in April.
Right.
Yeah.
I heard you.
I mean, you heard me. You heard the clip from April.
Right.
Yeah.
And then there was an effort put afoot to keep you from being on a national
Which is the reason why I'm here today, because I wasn't allowed again to tell my story.
after you'd already waited 3 decades to tell.
Yeah.
And that's what made me passionate about making sure you got heard this time,
Yeah. Thank you.
with nobody stopping you. And that's why, even though we had technical difficulties, but the main camera over there is where I'm gonna be editing this, and it's gonna be a finished product. I wanted to make sure the world not only heard you, but saw you.
Yes.
Because you've been, basically, they've been trying to keep you out of sight, out of mind.
Absolutely.
And my objective was to make sure that they just didn't hear your voice, because anybody can hear a voice over a radio or whatever. But when you see somebody and you see the pain, and you hear the pain in the voice, and you see the pain in the eyes, because I'm a person like that. You can say a lot of stuff to me, but when somebody talks to me, I'll talk my sons. I say, you look them right in the eyes.
Yeah.
A person can't lie to you and look you in the eye.
Well, you got some professional lawyers.
You got some professional liars.
But
But
what I
while
hear-
they're looking,
Yeah.
they're gonna start glancing around or looking down at your feet. If a person can look you dead in your eye and give you a firm handshake, it's been my experience in these 50 years I've been on this earth.
Yeah.
They can tell you the truth.
Absolutely.
And see, before I even saw you, Jimmy, your voice wasn't wavering. You weren't searching for words. This happened to me. I didn't like it. This is what happened to me. This is what happened to me. This is what they did. This is what this person said. And your story ain't flip-flop not one time.
It has never changed.
Because you didn't have to rehearse it.
No.
When you don't rehearse stuff, you don't flip-flop.
Yeah. So I prefer to write it in pen so that it can't be erased. If I wrote it in pencil, they can erase my story. And this is why I choose to tell my story and not let anyone change the narrative of my story. This is my story. This is my song,
Right.
praising my Savior all the day long. This is my story. Again, you can take a lot of things from me, but this, my experiences, you can't take that. And I don't care how you try, how anyone try to come and circumvent and say, oh, let me see, because they couldn't find any loopholes in my story. There aren't any loopholes at all.
Because you didn't lie.
This is my story. And now that it's out, it's out. I've held this for years. And again, I'm not concerned about my critics. I want to talk to those people and let you know that you have a voice. You have a voice. Speak it. Stop protecting them, because that's what I did. Stop protecting them. They didn't protect you. Again, it is uncover. It is you expose a system. And let me tell you another thing. Let me say this, and it's late because I'm.
You know.
Oh God. As a blogger, can I say something to the bloggers?
Go ahead.
When you are listening to a story or somebody bring a story to you, listen to them. Listen to how it makes them feel. I mean, understand how they feel. You may not have experienced it, but at least honor and respect how they feel. If a person said, please don't do this, this hurts me, don't do it. My story has never been intended to be ammunition against any other platform. That's not my story. I'm not in this fight. This is not my fight. I fought with myself enough. I've been in a boxing match with myself enough. My story weren't used, or was never intended to be used as ammunition to fight another platform. It's just my story. And hear them. If a person says you're hurting me and they keep doing it, that means they don't care. And I've always said, didn't I say it? I don't want the noise louder than my story. Never. Always find out from the person and find out what is it that they want. And don't mix your agenda with their agenda. Just follow their lead. Trust them. And if you don't want to do the story, be honest enough to say, hey, you know what? I can't do your story. It's a conflict of interest. Because the story, the person that you talking about is my friend. So I can't do the story. Don't do that. Just say I can't do it. I don't want to take this on. Especially when you already know, because he said it. Y'all are here. He said he would mention it. He would confess. But he won't do it on the Word Network because it'll hurt his money.
Yes. Well, Jimmy, I had this grand thing. I no lie, practice in the mirror. I was gonna say to wrap this up, but I think coming from the heart like you did is enough. I mean, I'm gonna put out there the recordings properly as you instructed me to,
Yes.
so innocent people are not caught in the crossfire.
Yes. Please.
I made sure, that's why I sat up to 6 in the morning. I made sure I took people that you said they were good to you and they just happened to be involved in this on the periphery and you did not want to bring them into the eye of this storm. I honored that.
Yes.
That's
Thank
why
you.
some of this stuff, 10 hours worth. I kept my word to you.
Thank you.
And I'm going to continue to keep my word to you. I'm going to release them tonight. I'm going to put some up tonight so that the audience can hear. You're going to find out what I already know. This man is not lying. He got no reason to lie. He gains nothing by lying.
Nothing.
Nothing. He's suffered long enough. He's been heard for the first time. This is just the beginning. He's been heard. And he's already said, he said it. I suggest you seek counsel, legal counsel. This system is not about a person.
It's a system.
It's a system. And he is coming after that system. And guess what? I'm going to help him.
And I would challenge every pastor that's watching this live or whatever, you're going to come back because you don't want people to know you're in this live, and so you're going to come back and sneak and listen to it. It's okay. I would challenge you to be honest. Uncover this system. If you're a part of this system, sit down because you're hurting people. You're cutting people. You're hurting people. And if it's money that you cherish over somebody else's life, then you don't need to be doing what you're doing. If it's about clout, if it's about your name being seen or you want to be known, come out of that. Take up for the people that you say God called you to pastor over.
Mm-hmm.
And you wonder why sheep are snarling and biting. That's not the nature of a sheep. Something is wrong. Watch the pattern of that person. Something has happened. If they come to you, don't tell them you lying. Investigate it. This is why people don't tell their story. Because the first thing people do is say, oh, they lying. That ain't true. There was somebody called up, another gentleman said, oh, he's lying. He's lying. And then turned around and said, oh, I remember that story. How do the same breath you say I'm lying and then turn around and say I remember the story? How do you take up for that? How do you really take up for that? It's garbage, man. It's dung. It's dung. You can't say you are a pastor and you allow another guest come in. I don't care if it's not a guest. Somebody in your church done touch somebody. But you're afraid that, oh, I don't want it to be known. It's going to be known. You see how many years it comes out later? How many years later it comes out? It's still known.
And
What did Bishop, he said it.
Mm-hmm.
He said it. He said, just because something is silent doesn't mean it's dead. It's not dead.
It's right
It's
here.
right there. It's the truth. He's actually scolding them and said, I told y'all, go back and correct stuff. I got to applaud him for that. Get out your feelings and protect the people that you're supposed to protect. Stop protecting the predator. People run quick to protect predators. What about that little innocent? Oh, well, they know what they was doing. No, they didn't. They were seduced and bamboozled and hoodwinked. They couldn't think on that. You said, well, I would have done this. You don't know what you would have done while you don't know. I didn't know. I wouldn't be that way today, but I was cold. And I was shocked. And I had never experienced this before. For you to talk like this to me.
Mm-hmm.
I felt paralyzed. So stop downplaying people's story because it has something to do with your boy. or your girl. Stop downplaying it. You know it was true. You said it in your. You said it in a conversation.
Stop upholding people in wrong.
Just tell people, listen, stop. Stop what you're doing, or go get you some help. And then young people start experiencing these things, and now you wondering why they're doing the same thing to other people, and now they struggling. They struggling with their whole identity piece. But then the person that turned them with their hand has the audacity to speak against them, but you turned them. Or you were the hand that helped turn them, because your silence was still loud. Because you didn't deal with it and you didn't say anything about it, it was you agreed with it. Mm-hmm. If you don't say anything about it, you agree with it. Yeah. I don't care if it's your favorite preacher. Stop taking up for your favorite preacher or your favorite whoever or your family members. If they're wrong, they're wrong. So a lot of you been molested and sodomized and raped. Here's time to speak up. Let your voice be heard. That's why I didn't want the noise louder than my story, because it's my voice and my truth that comes from my core that's going to shake the people's ear. And you can hear the truth. You're going to hear my honesty and integrity and my transparency. It's going to be loud enough.
That's true. And for the doubters, you back it up with receipts, but you don't need them.
I could care less about doubters and critics.
Sure can.
Some of them are still molesting people and sodomizing folks. They just don't want nobody to know.
You said something that when we were talking on the phone, you said the way this system is working, because Preacher A got dirt on Preacher B, Preacher B got dirt on Preacher A.
So nobody can tell on each other.
It's just a standoff.
They only connect to people who's got a whole lot of issues, so nobody can tell on each other. We got a boy dead right now because, listen. So Michael Tripp, y'all can say what you want to say about him. Oh, and he was gay anyway, but you didn't say anything about it when that man touched him. You running your mouth about him, but you didn't try to protect him.
Offer him no covering.
That boy's dead. And the last conversation we had was about this. We got a boy that's dead that can't speak. I got to speak for him. He got on drugs, got strung out, overdose last year. Michael Tripp is dead.
Because of what happened to him?
Well, all these things start rolling and leading into this a cycle. But these same people that didn't protect him talked about him.
Over and over and over again. So every time they said something about him, he was just reliving it.
But he wanted their approval as well, so he tried to get back in with them. He just wanted to get their approval.
He wanted to be
accepted. And he and I fell out about it at one point. He came back and apologized to me later and said those people caused him to do what he did to me. He apologized for it because I told him off. Yeah, I cussed him out. I'm not afraid to say it. How you gonna let these are people that can't help you. They said they can't help you. I did. But before it was all said and done, we had a conversation. And this was the last conversation he and I had. He could never get over this experience. But the same hand, the people that had their hands dealing in it, couldn't protect him, but they talked about him. Just like you talk about me, but your hands was in it. You didn't protect me, but you talk about me. That mouth and hand and mouth. I'm writing a book about hand and mouth. The hand that turned you is connected to the same person that mouth is talking bad about you. That lady said I was going to die. She said they're going to be bringing me back in the box. Witchcraft and control. Manipulation. Witchcraft and control. Manipulation. Witchcraft and control. Manipulation. And intimidation. One of the reasons I left that place because of all of this. I said, I got to get out of here. And that lady when that night, she got in that car and said to me, well, you know, Brother Bales, you're going to have your chance to confront him. Look at all these years. Because she refused to pull up her bootstraps and confront it. It's okay. It's a system. It's not a person, places, or things. It's a system.
Well, I'm glad that you finally got your voice heard.
Yes.
And I'm glad that I was able to help you. You've done more for me. You've thanked me for helping you, and I appreciate that. But I wanted to say this to you here. You've done more for me by allowing me to help you than I probably did helping you. I was wasting my time and energy on stuff that didn't even matter. And you kept reminding me to focus on the bigger picture.
Yes.
Because I was getting bogged down with insignificant things and insignificant people. And I was missing out on the bigger things. And I thank you for that.
You're welcome, sir.
And I give you my word. I'm going to stick by you. We're going to finish this.
Okay.
We're going to finish this.
There's so many moving pieces to this.
And along the way of me helping you, if we can somehow, because I know I'm going to get emails and messages, people going to come out and they're going to start saying, well, this happened to me. This happened to me. This happened to me. Who can I go talk to? I'm going to start finding some resources because obviously the system can't and is not willing to help them. So I'm going to find places that they can go and get help.
Yeah.
Wherever they are. Don't sit there and suffer in silence. Don't self-medicate. Find you a therapist. If you can't find one,
I got one.
reach out. I see a therapist. So
I just called another one today because I want to be local.
Right.
I want a local therapist in New York, right?
Mhm.
I called one today and made an appointment for one local.
good.
Because all of this got to come out. I got to deal with this. When this is over, I still have to deal with my emotions. I cry. Man, listen, during this whole process, I had to relive it.
Mm-hmm. That's what I was worried about
I had
when
to
we did
relive
this
it.
story. That's what I was worried about.
But it's so real to me. I had to relive this. I can talk about it and not be ashamed. That's why I didn't talk about it before. I was ashamed. They silenced me. Like they kept me silent. And when I went to that platform, I felt like they silenced me again. Mm-hmm. And then I went to another platform because it was really, and there's no harm. I know people get passionate about what they do, but I didn't want the noise louder than my story. I don't ever want the integrity of my story to lose its essence. Because there are people that I've gotten inbox messages saying I've experienced this kind of thing. And by you coming out talking about it, I applaud you. It takes courage. It took courage for me to get on that flight and fly into Ohio just to do this. And we talking about the integrity of a platform.
Right.
Let's talk about that. Because if you're going to be integral, let's be integral.
Mm-hmm. I have to be honest about something. When it comes to you, I was concerned because you had been through so much. I was concerned that Michael's fate was going to become yours. And I just didn't say. I was just. I can't tell you how much prayer I've gone through. I said, please, God, if he's hurting and he can't talk to nobody, please just let him call me. Because I would have been wiped out.
Yeah. Well, first of all, let me say this. Thank you for feeling that way. I'm kind of vain, though. Let me just be honest with you. I'm kind of vain. Now, there were many times I looked at bottles of pills and I wanted to just take them. But I thought about my mother. I said, how would that make her feel? Mm-hmm. That her baby is dead and she don't know why. I wasn't going to cut myself because I didn't want blood all over my clothes and shoes.
I'm sorry. That's just.
I mean, hey,
Yeah, you vain for
it's the
real. If
truth.
you worrying about blood on your
Well,
shoes.
I don't like pain. I'm not like. But there were times. Let me say this. There were times I didn't want to wake up, and I would wake up and say, "God, why did you let me wake up?" I had preferred to die in my sleep.
Yeah, that's depression. That's
Yeah,
real.
I was depressed. I
That's real
still
depression.
suffer with depression.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to just die in my sleep. Like, and I would wake up and say, God, am I still here? Like, why did you let me wake up? You let me live so I can talk to these people.
That's
Because
your
Michael
purpose.
didn't make it.
That's your purpose.
Michael is not here to talk about it.
But you are.
I'm here.
And see, you say, God, why am I here? That's a purpose. I used to have that same feeling. I would be like, well, I was 28, and I was like, I wasn't going to kill myself, but I just didn't care if I didn't wake up.
Yeah.
But you know what changed that? He's sitting right there.
Yeah, your child.
I had a purpose when he was born. He's the reason I started seeing a therapist,
Yeah.
because I had given up. I didn't know what was going on, but I had some traumatic experiences,
Yeah.
and I didn't know that I was depressed. I thought I was just feeling down like everybody else.
Yeah.
And then some of it I had suppressed, but
Yeah, I suppressed mine for so long.
then it
goes-
became normal to carry this around
Yeah.
with me.
I want to read. Man, I don't have it. Yes, I do. Let me read something to you. I'm not going to express the name. I'm not going to tell the name at all. Somebody sent me this message, and I know you're going to cut some of this out or whatever because it is long, but you got 10 hours of conversation. Still some you haven't gotten yet.
Oh,
Well, I'm just trying to tell you, there's still some. And I didn't do it just to be, but you know, you record because you don't trust people, right?
there you go.
Well, I'm just saying. So, Lord, these people, I want to read something, and I've accepted some people because I know you want to hear and you want to share. But I want you to know this is copywritten. You cannot use this without our permission.
That's right.
Um,
Contract is here.
we have a contract signed. I appreciate you for that, for being professional.
Yeah, no
Thank you
problem.
for being professional. I like this kind of stuff where you can sign contracts and all that kind of stuff. I want to read something. Well, this I can't read it verbatim because I got to find it. But, oh, yes. So he says to me, I went through abuse. He said, but trauma became normal for me because he couldn't talk about it. He wrote a book, but he left that piece out. And he shouldn't have. And he talked about that. How trauma became he normalized, it became a normality for him. And for me, that whole trauma started becoming normal, and I just hold it in and hold it in. So when I saw a flyer with that person's picture on it, it was a trigger for me. It triggered something. And my heart would pound and beat fast and felt like I was going to lose my breath, and I would get so depressed. And sometimes I couldn't cry, but I would laugh and cut jokes. Part of that was covering up my pain as well.
Right.
Cutting jokes, saying jokes. But that's the only way I could get tears to run down my. Sometimes I would laugh so to tears come out, and it was this relief, but it wasn't a lot. I needed to cry. Get your counselor, speak out, reach out to somebody you trust. Your thing's in low battery, you need to plug it up. Your camera. Get somebody that you can trust right here. This one.
Oh, my battery's low.
Yeah.
And I got enough time. It'll
Yeah.
work.
It's
So
get with somebody you can trust and talk to. Get a counselor. You can even reach out to me. We can talk.
Talk to somebody.
Talk to somebody. We're gonna make something available so you can go. Now we're gonna make something available. They can go and hear these recordings. It's just not gonna
Yeah.
put them all out there like that.
Oh, yeah, no. I'm editing. I'm going to upload them because the ones that have been edited so far that we didn't use tonight, so that you can hear the cover up, the system that he's going after, and I'm helping him. And you can. People say one thing publicly, and then privately they were saying another thing because it suited the agenda that they were pushing forward, and sweeping his story under the rug and his pain for their whatever.
Gain.
Yeah, I was trying to be nice about
You
it.
don't have to be nice.
Yeah, but you're gonna get to hear those. I will go home and I will be putting them up tonight to let you know. So I'm gonna tell you now before you listen. You're gonna get upset. You're gonna get mad. You're gonna get angry. Do what I did. Walk outside, walk in the other room, do something make you laugh, because my God,
It's a lot.
it's a lot. But while you listening to it, put it in the same perspective I did. You listening to it, he lived it. He lived it.
Yeah. My heart aches still. I'm not at all these because I didn't do anything about it for years, and I still ache. I'm aching now. Sometimes I have to have me a glass of wine. Red wine.
Okay.
You can send it to me at P.O. Box 1974, Atlanta, Georgia. 30301. Don't send me no anthrax.
I take cigars.
Don't send me no anthrax.
Oh.
I very seldom fly in to check that mail, but I will check it. Let your voice be heard.
Mhm.
If I can say anything to you today, speak out. Write your story. Keep a journal. You don't have to be ashamed. Just telling you, I was ashamed for years. Even up until I called that show, I was ashamed. And then I became more ashamed when I was shut down. But I'm back again. Thank you for this opportunity.
Hey, bro.
Appreciate it.
All right. This is on the beginning. Good night, y'all.
Oh, God.
That was the longest 2 hours of my life. I mean,
2 hours 30.
That was hard. That was hard for me. Stay tuned, y'all.
I want people to get help.
Yes, sir.
Hey, y'all. Stay tuned. I will be uploading tonight.
Yes, sir.
So, thank you.
Thank you all for joining.
Oh, man, no problem. I didn't mean to upset you. I saw you getting upset over there, son. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Thank you. I told you my son's story.